This is Robert Clotworthy, and you are listening to Oak Island Plus, a discussion of Oak Island and other mysteries from around the world. Here are your hosts, James McQuiston, Oak Island theorist and author, along with John Hamels, PhD and historical researcher. Get the whole story right here, brought to you by Rabbit Hole Investigations.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Oak Island Plus, and this is episode 30.
Seems like it was just episode 29, my God. Isn't that great? 30.
It's unbelievable. I'm Doc Hamels, and
Jim McQuiston.
And we've been teaming up here for going on 3 years between books and videos and everything else in our Facebook page. So Jim, today is going to be sort of an abbreviated show, right?
Yes.
So it has an interesting title, The Final Answer. Do we have the final answer?
Well, you know, where we came up with that was we were having a strategy meeting a month ago or so, early October, early September.
Over omelets.
Over omelets. And Doc said, you know, they probably already have the answer. There is so much data that we're still crunching, so much data that they're still crunching. And when they're on the island, they have to keep their nose to the grindstone to find stuff during the good weather, you know. So they've amassed so much data. They inherited all of Dan Blankenship's data that
Right.
Judy Rudabush, who is such a great archivist, is going through that paper by paper, trying to look for clues. I know Steve Guptill is trying to get better GPS coordinates in some areas and log in what was found at those areas, trying to make some kind of a map out of this. Even Laird told us in his show that he was that the archaeology study was going on, whether the show
Keeps
went
on
on or
going.
not.
Oh, yeah.
It was going to keep on going. So there's just so much to do, and there's been a lot for us to do. So
I drew a comparison, remember? I said this is like the Indiana Jones movie where they take the Ark of the Covenant in an unlabeled box and they put it in that great big warehouse. They've got thousands of artifacts that they can't have gone through all that and figured it all out, I don't think.
And even Doug had told me that one year that there's a rumor that Dalhousie University has a whole room full of Oak Island artifacts. So all that stuff, you know, it's pretty expensive to get carbon dated, and it generally ruins it. But all of that stuff needs study, and our work needs more study. And so it's quite possible that the final answer is out there right now with all the other theorists, you know, 12, 14, 16 other theorists, whatever, refining their theories. We're refining our theories. Judy's looking through paperwork. The archaeology team is dating items or whatever. That the answer could be sitting right there. The final.
It could be just an innocuous little tidbit that all of a sudden we go, holy cow, there's the missing link.
Yep.
Right?
And we found that in a lesser scale when we have a hole in a story that we're trying to build.
Right.
And then 2 or 3 days down the road, you're looking at a book and you go, oh my God, that was just like me finding out last month that George Keith was a partner with William Alexander. And
who knew that?
I never knew that in all the years I've been working on this, you know. So, you know, you find out those little tidbits and you fill in the gap and fill in the gap. So because it's only going to probably be solved through historic research and artifact identification and all that, unless they find a notebook that said, hey guys, this is what we're up to 1,200 years ago or 400 years ago or whatever. Yeah. That's how it's going to be found, and it might already be found. We just don't know it. We and they just need to keep crunching the data.
And in our case, we stay wide open. We don't always say we're right because we've corrected ourselves and, you know, realized we had the wrong Douglas or the wrong Gordon, only to discover they had 2 guys with the same name, and we had to sort through that family line.
Well, and the H.O. Stone's an example, because we thought there was a chance that the cross on that could be a Knights of Malta cross.
Right.
Then we found out that, no, the whole thing was a surveyor's stone placed in 1817. So, yeah, that's a good point, because that could happen to them.
Yeah.
Judy could be on the trail of something and go, well, wait a minute, I thought it was this, but it's obvious it was this, or any one of them. So, kind of in reverence or whatever, out of respect for them getting a new start here this year, we thought maybe we'd pull back just a little bit, maybe like you might call it a hiatus. We're not walking away from it, but just see how things develop.
See what they find.
You know, we're
other
going to
people.
obviously still be doing our stuff. I hope to have a new book out pretty soon on the Mary Queen of Scots Code, and actually tied in with the beaver pelt hunting. It's kind of a combination book. But all those books takes forever to do. I mean, it's just unbelievable on them. But anyway, so we're not walking away from the mystery at all. We're just going to back off a little bit and let things dwell.
Right.
Let them, they dig up whatever new holes they're going to dig up.
Tie it in.
Whatever Laird's going to figure out, Judy's going to figure out. But we do have a couple of bonus discoveries that we wanted to share with you
All right.
today. So we'll
let's
put
get
them up
started.
on the screen
What
here.
you got?
Well, so speaking of having stuff, just like we were talking about, we had presented a map by a gentleman that was of Oak Island, and the reason why we presented it when we first found it was because it was from 1960, but it had a circle with a dot in the middle for a surveyor's post. And we were so thrilled because it was of Oak Island. And we were saying that H.O. Stone was a survey post, and that the dot and the dot, there was a survey marker, and the dot and the circle around it was, in fact, I think you found it in a guide to
surveyors.
that's what they were
Nova Scotia.
required to use for surveys. So in that paperwork, I was trying to clean my computer up a little bit, and I found another map that had been part and parcel of that collection that the gentleman did, and it showed a channel going right up through Mahone Bay, up by Oak Island. Now, I had heard about this before because in 2017 I was with Doug over at the COGS, the Center of Geographic Sciences, and we noticed something like that, and so he called a lady that was involved with the show at the time. She was a major player in the show at the time, and she said, "Oh yeah, we yacht, and all the yachts come down that channel because you got shoals everywhere else."
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I realized, well, not only does it go right up by Oak Island, and I drew the red line. The rest of the map is his, but I drew the red line. It goes right up the Gold River. And in fact, we found out that it was created by Gold River during the last ice age. The water would come straight out of the river and right out into the ocean, and it dug that channel. Well, what was cool was that I mentioned it to Judy Rudebush, and she said that she thought she remembered Tony Sampson telling her about that channel.
Yes.
So she went to talk to him and asked him, "Do I remember that right?" And he said, "Oh yeah, that's the Yellow Brick Road." He said it goes right from the ocean right to Oak Island. Now, if you were going to go to any other island, you would risk running over shoals, because there's a lot of shoals in Mahone Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And why not take the channel that you can see? And that's the other thing that Tony Sampson said, is that at the right time of day, you can actually see that channel. When you're out on the ocean, the way the sun hits the water, you can see that that's the way to go. So it wouldn't matter if you even knew about it or not. It wouldn't matter what era you came from, what culture you came from. You're not going to successfully get back to the back of that bay without taking that channel, because you're going to run aground like that one ship did.
And navigators have their little charts that they make over time. They pass it, they sell it, they share it, So this probably became a well-known fact over time, right?
Yep, to get down in there. And Art, our good friend up there in Nova Scotia,
Mm-hmm.
he when he found out about it, because we share a lot with Art because he's our boots on the ground guy up there, and he said, well, if you think about it, all you'd have to do is turn slightly to the left and you'd be at the swamp. because it comes right up on Isaac's Point, which is that point of land where the oak trees were. If you follow it straight, you go right by Smith's Cove and right up to Gold River. If you hook a little left there, you go into the swamp area. So all of this is now making incredibly logical sense.
And on the very map, the legend says,
Yep.
it's the only straight sailing course to an anchorage at Oak Island.
I know, it's wild.
Straightforward.
In my chapter 3 of my first book, which was Oak Island Missing Links, it was actually entitled Why Oak Island? And I had conjectured a number of reasons why, but I didn't know about this. And that's what we're talking about, is that things are right in your grasp. They're right on your computer hard drive or your backup disk or in a pile of paperwork in Dan's basement or whatever. And these answers are in there. Nobody knew why Oak Island until this discovery. So this natural channel likely cut at the end of the last ice age is almost certainly the reason of why Oak Island. To sail to any other island or even to any other shoreline, you'd run the risk of going over the shoals. So this is a major discovery. And I sent it all up to there, up to what I call the Oak Island team. It varies in who's on that team at various times. Right. But yeah, I'm getting confirmation back. Holy cow.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
And the other part of this is and that we have talked about it and people forget about, it was the fishing and the beaver trade. Yep. That was huge back in the 1600s, 1500s, 1600s. And if they knew this channel was there, they would take them right through there, right past Oak Island, and then right to Gold River. And what we think also possibly Lot 5 was tied into all this as well, right?
Right. And, if you look at a map of it, that it's just below the 45th parallel, which we last month we talked about being the best place to go to get beaver pelts. And so it also, if you look at a map, you'll see that it's the deepest bay, I mean deep into the landmass, not depth, but right. And if you're going to go into the interior to get lumber, to get furs, whatever, you want to get the furthest into the interior that you can possibly go. And from the Atlantic coastline, that is the spot. That's the sweet spot of it all, right there. And the fact that we had French, English, and German writers writing about it, obviously everybody was finding out about it, that was the place to go. So we're feeling really good and really confident that we have discovered the reason why Oak Island was so important within Mahone Bay, that supposedly at one time had 365 islands in it. I mean, right off the bat, you have to think, why Oak Island? Right. I mean, it's just logical. Now we know why.
Pretty simple.
The road went right by it, just like if Sam's Club's right on the road, you just go Route 219, and Sam's Club's right off to the left, something like that. Well, that's the way this almost certainly was back then.
This next picture you sent me a couple weeks ago, and I'm looking at it going, what am I looking at? I have no idea what it is. What is it?
Well, and this is another case of having it right in front of your eyes for years, because this was taken off the 1634 painting that I got from that Audley End House and Gardens, which is when you first started working with me on the books, because I said, can you look this painting over and what can you find on? We found tons of symbology.
Tons of symbols and images and history in there, and then this thing. What is this thing? Well, and how did you even find it? This was in the painting you said.
Yes, and it on coat of arms they'll have a shield, and it's divided into 4, and those are called the quadrants.
Right.
And we had really scanned this painting so many times, and I thought we found everything off it that we could. But I saw this thing, and I'm like, what on earth is that? First of all, what's it doing on a coat of arms? It didn't even fit the design at all. It looks like a guy, or it looks like a beer can opener or something. I was puzzled. And but I thought, well, I'm going to try to figure out what it is. So I took it into Photoshop, and I isolated, because it was kind of dark on the painting. I isolated it and silhouetted it out. And this was on that Edward Norgate
1634.
painting, and he always drew realistic. He was noted for drawing realistic.
And this painting is where you have the King, James or Charles?
Charles.
Charles giving William Alexander the paperwork, I call it. You now are the governor. You are the guy that owns Nova Scotia, and that's the painting.
And I called them devices, and I know they're called devices, these items on coat of arms, but this lawyer friend of mine or acquaintance, he's a heraldry lawyer, and he's going to be over talking to the main guy here pretty quick. So we're waiting to hear back from him, but he says he calls them charges, and he says that when you get an augmentation of your arms, like you get it renewed and you add things to it, a charge is a personal thing to you. You want to put it on there to signify something important in your life. That's why he asked him to have the beaver on top of that.
Okay.
That's the first coat of arms ever with a beaver on it.
All right.
Well, this is symbolic too. And just to solve the mystery, it's a lock for a treasure chest.
What?
Yep. It's a lock for either a chest or a trunk is the way they describe it. It's found, the examples of it are found in a number of museums. That's usually dated from the 16th century up to the 18th century. This Mark Abbott explained to me how the longer piece there is a clasp that claps in, and then the bottom piece slides up and locks it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So we'll put it back up there so you can see it. Little deeper research proved that it was nothing less than a lock for a trunk or a chest. A treasure chest in Nova Scotia? All right. We don't know, but having a chest lock on a coat of arms seems somewhat significant, especially now that we know that charges or devices added later were personal to that person. So this was personal to William Alexander that he asked that a padlock, well, it's not really a padlock, it's just a general lock on a chest. So we discovered other hidden symbology all over the painting, and so it could be that this is a reminder or a clue that William Alexander's Knights Baronet of Nova Scotia in 1632 had left behind a treasure chest, or maybe more than one treasure chest, to be recovered when it was safe to do, which is kind of like the basis of our theory. It never was safe until 1749 when the English took over and settled in Halifax, and then they were allowed to get back down on Oak Island without, getting their heads lopped off by the French. And that's when a lot of the baronet families first returned to Oak Island, and those include, we mentioned it last month, John Strachan, John Monroe, Hector McLean.
Right.
So they were some of the first people to purchase land on Oak Island. And so my friend Mark Abbott is going to be over there shortly, he might even be there by now, talking to this gentleman who handles all of this business for King Charles, and they're actually going to go through the records and try to find out when it was placed there and why William Alexander asked it to place it there. So these two discoveries, right in front of our eyes, right on my computer backup drive, and I wouldn't have found them probably if I wasn't trying to clean the computer up. This is an example of what you were saying about the answer might be there. Look at these two answers; they're pretty amazing
in plain
answers.
sight.
And I'm just going to reveal a little bit. If and when I can get my book out, I've run into a couple snags, but there's another set of code that not only matches Mary Queen of Scots code, it matches the 90-foot stone code. So it's 3 pieces of code. That's still being developed, and I'm sure that I'm going to find 15 things. We're going to find 15 things about it.
Oh boy, here we go. Another rabbit hole.
that we never even thought of. So the whole point of this is that there needs to be time. There needs to be dwell time. I know a lot of times when I have to make a tough decision, I'll say I'll make it tomorrow morning. I'll sleep on it. That's the old saying, I'll sleep on it.
Yeah.
Give it a little dwell time. And So we're just going to step back for just a little bit, and we're going to but who knows? I mean, we might show up on your doorstep any minute, but to give Oak Island a chance to
reveal its secrets.
Yeah, and sort some of their own items out, because see, it's relatively new that Judy's been going through Dan Blankenship's
The archives
stuff.
and
They just
documents.
bought his house not too long ago, and she had worked with Zena Halpern for 10 years, and then after Zena passed, Rick asked her if she would go through these archives. So, it takes forever to go through archives, especially paperwork. I mean, it's one thing to do a Google search for a book and then do a search of the PDF and find it in a couple minutes. When you got 10 boxes there, you got to open every one, sort it out into layers. Does this mean anything? Does that mean anything? So they're doing that. We know, according to Laird, they're
Still digging.
Still digging and still sorting out what they have. And Steve Guptill's still registering it on charts where it belongs. All that's going on. So rather than push the cart too fast down the road or beat a dead horse, either one of those cliches, we're like, let's give it a little bit and see what gels. And
so we encourage you to go back and look at some of our other episodes, especially on the Canvas, the Mary Queen of Scots codes and things of this nature. It's just full of information. And as Jim always says, if you watch us for an hour, it's 1 hour worth of information. There are no ads.
Yeah. There's no ads and there's no sepia tone reruns or anything like that. It's just us raw telling you what we've found out. And it's been a real joy to do this. I mean, thank God we had Randy to bail us out with the camera work so we didn't have to be technical while we're sitting here telling our stories. A couple of storytellers, I guess. But anyway, so we'll be seeing you around, and
we're going to take a breather, and you certainly need a rest. You've done a lot of work on this.
Check out our Facebook page that Doc takes care of, and check out our YouTube, which I upload to YouTube. We kind of split the duties there, and it's been working out great. And we do have comments that we have to catch up on, which will give us time to do that. And I'm sure we're going to get comments out of this show. We got a few from last show. And by now we're up around, I think we're coming close to 120 or
we're approaching that,
1,000 views. Yeah, 1,000 views. And which is blowing us away. So anyway, I just want to say thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And we're not going to say goodbye. We're just going to say see you later.
Yep, see you later.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
This is Robert Clotworthy, and you have been listening to Oak Island Plus, a discussion of Oak Island and other mysteries from around the world. Be sure to catch every episode.